Well, hello, my name is Taylor, and today I'm gonna kind of show you how to depot a cardboard palette. This method is all about deconstruction. As you can see, I'm using my BH Cosmetics Original Carly Bybel palette, and I've just pulled the back of it off of the part that contains the shadows, and I have a Z palette with my already depotted Naked palette. I did a little video about depotting your Naked palette. Just this method is what I'm using here is a little bit different because I had to go a little bit further into deconstruction. So basically, you can see that there are a bunch of layers of cardboard, and I am just trying to peel the top layer off. And the point is to peel as many of the layers off so you only have the base layers with the shadows on it. So here I am just going through the palette. As you can see, this does take a little bit of time, and it's really important to kind of go slow and be really cautious about the shadows because, I mean, it's not the end of the world if you shatter them, you can repress them, but it would be nice not to. And this Carly Bybel palette, instead of, oh, sorry about the camera, instead of having like a bunch of layers of cardboard, has a layer of like this felt-like material that actually makes it really easy to peel up. And yes, I did like kind of smash my finger in the shadow. But otherwise, most palettes just have like a couple layers of cardboard that you can also peel up. This does get quite messy because sometimes you are putting your fingers in the shadows, so just be careful, use clean hands, and as you can see, now I just have the cardboard base with the shadows glued on. Since this is one of my older palettes, the glue is kind of loose, but it's not loose enough to the point where I can just take the shadows off with my hands, so I am just using a pair of really old tweezers that I don't use on my eyebrows anymore. I just keep them around for things that I might need them for. And I'm using those to kind of pry the shadows off of the base. You can use any kind of sharper object, just be like really careful because if the glue is kind of hard and your hand slips, obviously that can be really dangerous. So I am just trying to go really, really slow when it comes to taking the shades off. And sometimes the cardboard kind of sticks and you can kind of pull it off, and most of the glue didn't actually stick on these. So now I'm kind of gonna just fast forward because I'm gonna do the same thing for all of the shadows. So the highlighters were a little bit more difficult to remove. They're bigger pans, there's more glue holding them on. So it's it took me a little bit to kind of figure out what I'm doing. I was kind of debating, do I want to keep these two darker highlighters because they're too dark for my skin tone, but I do use them as eyeshadow occasionally, and I'm like, yeah, they're nice colors, I'll keep them for now. They still perform really, really nicely. So as you can see, I did bend the pan a little bit here, and this is really, really what you want to avoid doing if you can, because that is what's gonna break these shadows. And unfortunately, on this next one, I bend the pan and the shadow does shatter a little bit. You can see it going in there. A portion of it like kind of came up, but don't worry, I will fix that later. But it's so important to kind of try to go slow. Fortunately, the other two highlighters, the ones that actually work for my skin tone, and I do really love, these came off really easily. I just used like half of the tweezer under them to pry them off, and it worked really well. And now we are left with our cardboard base and our depotted shadows. So yes, this is quite messy. And if you know how to kind of repress makeup, I am just breaking up the side that was kind of coming out of the pan. The other side seems to be fine, but just breaking this side up, and then I'm going to put a few drops of rubbing alcohol in and then press it down. I will say these powders are so creamy. I really didn't need a lot of rubbing alcohol to kind of get it to a place where I could repress it. So I'm just pressing it down, and then it doesn't have the nice imprint anymore, but it works perfectly fine. I did a little swatch there. Yay, so pretty. So I am not keeping the two kind of purpley matte shades because, and I'm just swatching them here just so you can kind of see, honestly, whenever I wear them, it looks like my eye is bruised in a really bad way, and they're just patchy. I mean, this palette is fairly old, so I'm not surprised that some of the shadows aren't performing as well as I want, but the matte shades, the two brown matte shades are fine. Like, I can get them to work, though they're not my favorite mattes to work with. This used to be one of, like, my favorite palettes of all time, and I'm kind of sad I didn't get more use out of it when it was, like, in its prime, but I'm still able to make it work, and I'm kind of depotting it so I can just like mix it in with any other palette that I'm using. And I've been really enjoying reaching for my Z palettes more. I have a bunch of other shades that I took out of the palette to kind of depot these in that I'll put back in. But there you go, that is my depotted Carly Bybel palette. And this will work for most cardboard palettes provided you are not interested in keeping the packaging. Okay, thank you so much for watching.